Hello again. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I guess we'll give it a start now because we have about 469 of you who have joined in, and we'll allow enough time for everyone to join back. But we hope you're all keeping well. Thank you for your time and joining us for this webinar, making the most of resources, planning and adapting material, engaging learners, fostering individual development. Also, this is a teacher webinar. My slides have started to change. That's not what I want to do. This is a teacher session webinar. This is only the first session. We have 3 sessions, by the way, for the elementary teacher webinar. As last time, I just want to mention that we don't have 2 sessions. We just have 1 session. So you will not receive a link for the 1 p.m. session because there is no 1 p.m. session. We only have 1 session that will last for 2 hours. So you have a session today for 2 hours, you have one tomorrow, and you have one on Thursday. Just wanted to cover that. This session is, again, like I said, for elementary teachers. So just make sure you're in the right session. It's for the second semester course books, weekend 2, weekend 4, and weekend 6. And this is the first session, like I said. Tomorrow is the second session, and on Thursday we have session number 3. Just checking on the audio, you probably know the drill by now, but there's a hand icon. If you can hear my voice, please click on the hand icon just below your screen. Excellent, lots of hands going up, so we're good there. Just giving you a minute. Your moderators for today are myself and my colleagues, Minerva, Hamad, Medni, Nasir. Will be in the background to help you out with your question answers or any query that you have, any technical issue that you face. Please feel free to troubleshoot that to us. So we'll be there to help you out with those. We have our trainer for today, which is Danai. Thank you, Danai, for joining us. Just a background on Danai. Danai has successfully delivered several training workshops in Saudi Arabia and across Middle East. She has also co-authored the Saudi editions. She's an editor, content developer, and also an author. Thank you, Danai, for your valuable time and joining us today.
Thank you.
Danai usually is going to refer to a handout. You probably know that by now. I'm just going to drop the handout link in the chat box now. And if you are missing this link later on, just let us know and one of the moderators can drop that over to you. So that's the link for the handout for today. There are 3 handouts there and 2 teacher editions. So you can she's going to refer to those. Just make sure you open the handout and download this. Want to move on to housekeeping slides. You must have noticed we're on Zoom this time. One thing I do want to flag at is you will only see your name on the attendee list. You won't be able to see the other participants. That's because of GDPR. So don't worry, you're not the only one. There are about 500 people who are attending this webinar with you. Also, you will be able to interact with your colleagues this time. You will just have to make sure that your settings are on the chat box are enabled as all panelists and attendees. I'll tell you how you can do that later. And also one very important thing that I want to mention is your name is going to appear how you registered it on an Excel sheet. So we don't see your names how you see them on Zoom. That is something that's very important. So your name is appearing as your full name. So it's 3 or 4 names that we see all together. We don't see your first name. Also, if you can write in English in the chat box, that would be amazing. Just because most of the moderators Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, I'm just reading the message there. And just in terms of bandwidth, we recommend that you close down any high bandwidth issues because high bandwidth such as Netflix, YouTube, any gaming platform, because this is most likely to affect your bandwidth during the webinar. And if you're facing any connectivity issue with the audio, which I think should be okay, but you can also use the call-in function, by the way. And also, we will be giving the recording of this webinar towards the end of the series. And you will have the Q&A, but not in this session. You will have the Q&A on Thursday. So we have 3 sessions for teachers, like I said. Today is the first session, tomorrow is the second session, and day 3 is the third session. We will be covering all the Q&As in day 3. You are free to write your Q&A in the Q&A box, and we can note that down, or you can ask them us during the third session. But just because if you have any questions, they might be covered in this session or tomorrow's session or the third session. So we're doing a Q&A this time towards the end of the session. Last slide from me is just about the functionality. You are able to locate the chat very easily, which I can see lots of you are commenting. I'm sorry you won't be able to change your name. It is exactly how you had provided to your supervisor or your administrator on that Excel sheet document for registering. So it is appearing as your full name. Yes, it's not in Arabic. Just want to make sure we won't be able to change that for you anymore, unfortunately. There's a chat box that you've rightly located and using that. If you go on the bottom of the chat box, you'll see a to function there. You have to set it to all panelists and attendees. If you set it to all panelists and attendees, your colleagues will be able to see your comments and you will be able to interact with each other. There's also the Q&A box you must have seen on your screen on the bottom. You can use the Q&A box to ask us any questions, any technical queries you have. Likewise, as usual, you can use the chat box to interact with the presenter. And I guess that's all from my end. If you have anything else, then please put it out in the chat box for us. Yes, your name is appearing the same, Ibtisam Ahmed Hassan Al-Wali. That's exactly how we see it. So please don't worry about how it's showing up for you. It's going to show up exactly how you had provided your name at the time of registration. Over to you, Danai. Thank you so much. Enjoy.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Sorry about the Monday. Yes, you're absolutely right. It is Tuesday. Okay. Well, we're going to be talking about a number of things today. To begin with, can you have a look at this comment? No writer can know my class as well as I do. So please complete the statement with your own ideas. Can you just put your ideas in the chat box, please? How would you complete this sentence? No writer can know my class as well as I do. So I will manage it. Yes, thank you. Okay. Will master it. Tailor the syllabus to fit. Yeah. Teach them my way, can handle it. Okay, write the best. I'm the leader. Master it, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can make the decisions that you need to make, which are appropriate for your students, in other words. Let's have a look at these statements, or rather, would you be kind enough to look at these statements, please, and decide if you agree or disagree. Which statement is closest to your own experience after you've seen everything? What about the first one? I always do what the course book says. After all, who am I to judge experienced course book writers? Any ideas? Disagree. Disagree. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. You disagree with 4. All right. My students like it better when I use the course book, so I don't usually change anything. That's 2. Somehow disagree. Okay. Disagree with number 2. All right. I don't have enough time to make changes and find or design new materials, so I stick to the course book. Number 3. Some people agree with number 4. Yes, okay. If what I want is not included in the course book, I search and find relevant materials in other books or sources on the internet. You agree. You disagree. Interesting. Okay. Different views. Okay. If I see activities in the course book that are not suitable for my students, I miss them out and find others to replace them. Yes, great. Okay, let's carry on. I find some of the texts and tasks in the book boring, so I don't use them. Some people agree with 4 and 5. How about 6? Sometimes. Okay. All right. You disagree. Okay, sometimes you agree. When you don't use the texts or tasks in the book because you don't find them very interesting, do you replace them with other tasks or texts? Yes. Okay, sure. Um, the parents complain if I don't cover every single page in the course book. So what else can I do? Does that happen to you? Oh, okay. I don't feel confident enough to design my own materials. Um, it never happens to you. They don't complain. Good. Okay. Um, sometimes, okay, for about 11. Some people feel more confident. Some people feel less confident. Okay. Um, I would like to replace some texts and topics with others that are more relevant to my students' interests, but I don't because I'm worried about formal assessment. Not confident or feeling confused. Okay. All right. Can you all see each other's comments? Good. Okay. Okay. I don't find the teacher's guide useful, so I never read it. Disagree. Good. It's useful. Good. I'm sure. I'm glad you've got sort of mixed views on that. Okay. Um, would you like to add uh, any other statement about adapting things in your course book? That's enough. Okay. Agree. There are no answers. Okay, fine. Let's carry on. So we're going to be discussing materials adaptation and design. Why, how. Okay, online teaching. Yes, we'll see how that can work. Let me say now, we're going to start some work today. But a lot of the things that we're going to be discussing will be revisited again tomorrow about presentation and practice. Okay, so materials adaptation and design. All right. Oops, sorry. Uh, why do teachers adapt materials? Why do you think? Can we have some ideas? To meet students' needs, yes, good. Level to improve the curriculum. Okay, according to the level of the students, to match the level of the students, yes. All right, good. Okay, explain. Students have different abilities, yes, of course. Make it easier. Okay. Make it more fun, yes, good. Relevant, interesting, great. Okay, so I think you've pretty much covered everything. Individual differences, yes, absolutely. Integrate games, improve skills, suitable for our society, yes. Sociocultural perspectives, timing, yes. Okay, the setting, your classroom if you're in class, or online if you're online, age, syllabus, and so on. Okay, very good, great. So we agree. Um, Chants, not suitable for your society. All right. So maybe you could use them like poems almost. Um, okay. So which factors did you consider when you thought about they laugh at chants? Yes. You mean the students? Okay. Find students' talents. Yes, of course. All right. Okay. So assessment, chants are actually they dance the chants. Okay. Um, some people love chants. Yes, they laugh and I think it's poor songs. Okay. I'm sorry, but I mean, songs are not acceptable for everybody, so we can't have songs. So we, that was a requirement that we had to meet. So there can't be songs. So this is why there are chants. If you don't like the way the chant is basically recorded and you want to change the rhythm, you could maybe keep the beat sort of differently on your desk or in a different way. Yes, you can replace it with video. Um, it's easy to learn. Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can have alternative. You can find optional chants. Very good. Okay, they feel that the chants are a bit too young for them. All right. Um, okay. So, all right. So basically, these you take a lot of factors into consideration, and the most important thing that you do is basically uh, you take into consideration your learners' needs. Okay. But let's have a look. How can we adapt? Okay. Replace. Let them free to do what they want with chance. Yes, well, if you have chance, basically, what you can ask your learners, have their learners do is replace the words, change the theme of the chant. Um, and as you suggested, replace them with other chants. Yes, you modify the chant. Okay. Um, Rewrite it. Yes, fine. Um, Learn words. Yes, good. Using pictures for words. Yes, you modify. Okay. So The idea is that you can modify right from the start, change the chant, or use the chant in the book if you think it's appropriate. And after you practice it a bit, ask the students, let the students change the words. Chants are difficult and not easy to repeat and remember. Well, you will have to make sure that they are repeated and keep the rhythm, basically. It's the rhythm and the beat that's important. Okay. Um, so replace, omit, supplement, extend, combine, modify. Okay. So we have a very mixed attitude about chants, good, and some of you do modify chants or replace them. Okay. Now, regarding components of your course, these are the components. Can you please have a look? Okay, good. So some students like the chants. Yes. One of the things that I think we all need to bear in mind is that the way we feel, our attitude, and what we think of things um, affects the way our students feel. Okay, so that's given. What does F to face in the classroom, in person? Okay. Can we talk about the components? Class audio. Okay. Uh, which components do you use or not use those components that you have? Yes, good. All right. All right. Good. Okay. That's super. So quite a few of you seem to be using the interactive workbook, which is great. The Learning Center. Yes. All right. What about the teacher's guide? Flashcards. Yes. Good. All right. Okay. You think that the teacher's book is helpful for in-person, face-to-face lessons? Yes. Um, true. But what you can do is transfer that. We're going to try and do that together with some lessons, step by step. Okay, a mix. Okay, you read the teacher's guide to prepare. Great. Okay. Um, okay.
Sorry, Denai, I'm
All
just going to
right.
interrupt a
Yeah.
minute. So sorry about this. We're getting a lot of questions on the Q&A about your names. I know a lot of you have just joined in the session, perhaps that's why. I just want to be clear that we can see your name correctly. And I don't know how it's going to appear for you, but we can see it exactly how you have registered your full name. So we actually see your complete name. Please don't worry about how it's showing up on your screen. For us, we can see your complete name exactly how you had provided at the time of registration to your supervisor or your administrator. So please don't worry about how your name is appearing for you on your screen. Yes, Tahini Mujahid Elisa Al Harabi. We see the complete name. Just an example there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so really, it's very good that a lot of you are using the active book and the interactive whiteboard. Yes, we all agree, I think, that the interactive whiteboard is a good idea because the audio is integrated as well. Um, okay. Um, all right. Now, regarding online teaching, do you need different materials? Do you really need different materials, or do you need to make the transfer um, to online? Okay. Um, so basically, what we need to do when we look at resources is make connections between the different components. Okay. Um, Obviously, some of the components you find more useful and some less useful, depending on the curriculum and the syllabus of the particular course book. Okay, but it's important to make connections between the student's book, the teacher's guide, the interactive whiteboard, the interactive whiteboard, learning center, the teacher created or other materials that you're using, and so on, right? So they need to basically complement your syllabus to be appropriate for your syllabus. Okay. Nobody says you have to teach, if you don't teach all the components, it's like you use different components, but in a way that is coordinated. Yes, I understand that you don't get a student book audio anymore. Fair enough, but do you have access to the interactive whiteboard? Okay, yes. All right, so the audio is in the interactive whiteboard, obviously. Okay, so we forget about the class audio altogether. So that's out. Okay. Um, I would like to insist, how can students get most use from the book alone? Um, Try not to think of it as the book, think of it as a course book. So the book is the document, but it represents all sorts of things that are not necessarily text on a page. Yeah, procedures, what you're going to do with it, what sort of, how you're going to use it in class. Okay. So why use the teacher's guide? Well, because it will give you very clearly the syllabus. It will show corresponding items, curriculum and syllabus. It will set out the unit aims or the lesson aims very clearly. It will suggest step-by-step guidelines, practical ideas, yes, that you might modify or use as they are, depending on circumstances. It has extension activities. I remember you commenting last time we met, um, that you wanted some games, you wanted some different activities, okay, some activities that would be more appropriate. Okay, there are extension activities in the teacher's book. There are ideas about managing uh, small classes, managing large classes, what to do, what not to do. Okay, and basically there are all kinds of tips for assessment, mostly formative assessment, yeah, ongoing assessment. And we'll see if you, now you're all familiar with the book, yeah, that final box in your books with we can, that the learners themselves can think. Most books, sorry, all books are designed for face-to-face learning. Nobody has been prepared for this. Nobody. Even people who had been using online resources for some time, everywhere, it's different countries in the world. Nobody is perfect. Nobody was prepared for what has happened because of the pandemic. So nothing is perfect. Everybody is trying, and we're all trying to do the best we can. It's not a matter of different materials. Yes, there are websites for teachers to use to prepare games. Yeah, fine. But there are already games in your course book as well. So you can combine, you can use what you think is suitable, replace it. As we said, we're talking about adaptation. But it is a good idea to look at what is in the teacher's guide before you make those decisions. Okay, I put this up because I remember there were all kinds of queries about the curriculum. First of all, the curriculum is set out by the ministry. Okay. In your teacher's book, there are pages that will give you the objectives and the correspondence. Okay. Which pages you can find relevant things and so on. So you see, if you don't use the teacher's book, you won't know and you'll get confused. So that's one. The other thing I would like to highlight is syllabus. This is what you get in the teacher's book. So it's set out very clearly. Where can you find this? How can you plan a lesson, make changes? Okay, if you don't know what the aims are, if you don't know just at a glance, this is not very long text. You can have a look to see what the key items are in each area. Okay, so that is in the teacher's book, in the teacher's guide. I can't comment on your curriculum. Yes, there's quite a lot in it, but I can't, as I said, the curriculum is set out by the ministry. Okay. Uh, 5 and 6, we can have grammatical rules that are difficult for students. You don't have to use grammatical rules. Okay, you think it's a teacher's guide is a little complicated. All right. Okay, fine. Look, what we're going to do about the online teaching, this is what we're going to work on together, step by step. Okay. The teacher's guide is electronic. You can download it. You can print it out if you want it in print, so you can make notes on it if that's what you prefer. Um, so it's there, all right? So just to, highlight this point further, look, okay? It's just lists, which words, what you're focusing on. And here, words in action, phonics, okay? Optional phonics practice. So please do use the teacher's book, at least look at what's useful in it. And yes, I agree with all of you who mentioned that it's a good starting point. Okay, this is from 6, which is more complicated. It's written a little differently, but you will get the key items. Okay, grammar in action, reading and writing, phonics, optional phonics. Okay, so please look at this. Yes, lesson aims are important to know, or you're lost. Absolutely, I agree with you. Without, how do you know what you need to focus on if you don't have clear aims? Okay. Other components that you have, flashcards, posters, extension activities, all right? Um, Photos, objects, and so on that you provide yourselves. Yes, lesson planning should be suitable for students. Yes, of course, you take your students into consideration at all times. It doesn't have to be available in your school. I mean, the teacher's guide, you can download it, okay? It's electronic. It's on the internet. There is a link that you were given that you need to that you can access. Okay, so among other things, looking at components, you can have multiple uses of flashcards and posters. Now, I know that um, a lot of you uh, um, make your own flashcards. It's a good idea to also get learners as creative activities to create their own posters, modify posters. We're going to look at examples and so on. Uh, you can use flashcards and posters and other images that you can find on the internet free. Yeah. Um, okay, to make your to add to your bank of visuals that you're going to use to elicit, to illustrate, to explain, to revise, to assess, even to organize games and other activities. I don't understand this comment here. Please select. Oh, right. Okay. Thank you, Suresh. Uh, Skills value, a lot to do. Um, what exactly do we mean by skills? Do we all mean the same thing? Yep. Okay. All right. Okay. Can we all have a look? Those of you who have used, how many of you have used this poster? It's a weekend four poster. Yes, good. Lesson names. Okay. Um, uh, let's just deal with the comment about games, the games that are in weekend need the students to play with each other in class in person. Um, okay. You can modify them, not all of them, but you can modify quite a few of the activities, the fun time activities, and use them online with breakout rooms, especially if your students are used to collaborative work. Okay. If your students are not used to collaborative work in person in class, and you're trying to get them to work in pairs or groups online, um, it's going to take some time and it's going to take some training. It's not going to be as easy. And if you can't do that, you can still get students, nominate students, in other words, call out their names and have them work in open pairs while others listen. Obviously, this is not as useful as breakout rooms because speaking time will be restricted um, for the rest of the students. Okay. Something about a name. All right. Receptive and productive. Receptive and productive skills, you mean? Yes. But when we're teaching young learners, we basically teach whole language. And 9-year-olds, like in fourth grade, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, up to 12-year-olds, are still within the sort of group of young learners. Obviously, they're very different from 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, but they're still young learners. There is no time for fun time. You need to plan to try and make use of your time, of time in class. I know there isn't a lot of time. This is why you need to go through things at a certain pace. You need to elicit from students a lot. So can we all look at this poster, please? This is from weekend 4. How can you use it? Talk about it. How? Ask them to say what they can see, make a story, and so on. Okay. From here to there is the lesson. Yeah. Um, okay. How to get to places. All right. How to get to school. Colors. Okay. Can we look at some things that are some possibilities? Some of the possibilities, maybe. Numbers, puzzle. Okay. How many? Yes. Okay. Can you please have a look at this version? What can you do with this? Is it how many? Why are things numbered? Thank you. Yes, vocabulary. Okay. All right. This, again, there are means of transportation in this lesson, different types of vehicles and um, how you can get to places and so on in this particular lesson. Good. Yes, I can use the bus to get to somewhere. Okay. It's not guessing as much. Excuse me. Okay. All right. Can we agree that if you modify the poster in this way, you can use it to present vocabulary, you can use it to elicit vocabulary, you can use it to present and practice vocabulary, okay? You can use it in combination with a list of words that the students need to match. This is in the first lessons, yeah? Yes, but can we really think about the staging? Because this is the important thing. Okay, yeah, all right. Um, this is the important thing. You have to teach vocabulary, right? You want to teach means of transport, different types of means of transport. Show them, and you don't want them to be distracted by the written words. Okay, you want to first of all present it like this so they focus on the visuals. In other words, they focus on what the words stand for. All right, so you point to things online, you have this online, you point to things, one, and you try to elicit first of all. Does anyone know what this is? Does anyone know what this is? Rocket. Yes, good. Uh, can all right. Please, can we all sort of agree to go through the stages? Rocket. Okay. Can somebody ask people to repeat the word? Okay. Um, how about this? What is this? Anyone know? Okay. Hot air balloon. Good. Hot air balloon. Okay. Get three people to repeat it. All right. So we've got hot air balloon. We've got rocket. Okay, fine. Um, and here, what's this? Helicopter. Okay, fine. Helicopter. All right. Call out names. Hoda, Tarifa, Saudi. Okay. To repeat the word. Okay. And then combine with the previous ones. 2, 1. Okay. Um, you might not want to introduce all the means of transport. You might want to focus on some of them only. Okay. Um, so very important from that point of view. Okay. You were talking about online. Here, you can put this on your screen. Okay. Now, if you want to present it immediately with the words, you can use this, the poster as is. Okay. Yes, you can group them. You can classify them. So word families, all right? Um, word families for airport, for transport, you can talk about air transport, water transport, sea, lake transport, land transport. Okay. Yes, exactly. Air, land, sea. And that's another way of developing sort of other activities. Um, let's look at what else you can do. You have two groups, all right? Yes, but instead of just leaving them open to talk about, how do they know what to talk about? Okay, what I would suggest you do is you organize this like an information gap activity. All right, so in group A, for example, they have 121 without the word, yeah? If you look around, this helicopter is without the word, airplane is without the word. Subway 5, they've got the word written. Submarine 20, they've got the word written, okay? So some of the words are uncovered, all right, and they go with a number, and the other words are covered, okay? So they will have to ask each other, all right? So what's one, for example, okay? It's a rocket. Spell it. Rocket. So they can write it. If you want to go there, it might not be necessary to write. Okay? So what you do is you uncover what's in, okay, let me go back. So in A, it's the word is covered. So what's for? Airplane. Okay? Yes, good. Matching words and pictures is useful, is important for cross interaction. Yes, but you were talking about materials online. You have materials to use online. Which transport did NASA use? Yes. Okay. But you're using more complicated language here. All right. So what I'm thinking of is the syllabus and what you can do to practice the language that you need to practice. How to hide them? Okay. What I did here is I used, this is the PDF, and you would have PDF as well because they're online, aren't they? Um, so what I did was I used the tool on PDF in Adobe where you can put a square and write something in it. If you don't want to do that, a text box, yes, but a text box with the that also gives you the ability to write in it. If you don't want to do it that way, you can just use a color like black to conceal the word and just use the pencil to write the number. Yes. Okay, fine. Yes, you can use it on PowerPoint, put it on PowerPoint. You can just share your screen with your students, okay? But if you want to do things like that with information gap, you do need breakout rooms, all right? Or you will have to split your class, the whole class, into two groups and do it as a cross class, open pairs. Call out names for people to ask and answer. Uh, it's not, this poster is not a piece of art, okay? It's, the poster is there to help you elicit, introduce, practice, teach words in English, the words for different types of transport: air transport, water transport, sea transport, land transport. Okay, another one. What I'm trying to, again, I repeat, yes, give them the sound. And also, sorry, let me go back because you're coming up back with other ideas. Okay. Yes, very good, Mohammed. Yes, I do agree. Don't give the information. Let students think. Okay. Yes, let the students think and come up with things. All right. Don't just tell them everything. Don't give them everything. That's the best way to get them bored in the end. Um, okay. The sound is not good. I don't know. Is that a problem for other people too?
I can hear you well.
Thanks,
Is,
Sarish.
are you having an issue with the sound? Can we let us know in the chat box? No, 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 no. Okay, we're good.
Okay, but somebody mentioned sound in the chat box. That's why I asked.
Yeah, no
Okay.
worries. It's always good to check because this is a webinar, so you want to make sure your audio is edible. Audible, I mean, not edible.
Yeah. That would
Sorry.
be the day. That's great. Yeah. Good.
Yes. If your sound is not clear, just make sure your volume on your PC is
Okay.
set high. I'm just referring to that person, and just make sure you're connected to the audio at all if that you can't hear anything. Hope that helps.
Thanks.
Sorry, Vinay, over to you.
Thanks. Okay. Uh, Another one. This is from six, I believe. No, four. Hang on. Um, four. My house. Again, you would ask them to name things to describe. Okay. All right. Let's look at some other ideas. I spy or I see something. For example, in pairs or in two large groups. Student A says, I see a chair. Student B, is it in the dining room? No. Is it in the attic? Yes. Okay. This is without changing. Um, it's not necessarily previous knowledge. It's after you have presented and practiced the words. Yes, in that sense, it is previous knowledge. It's to practice, yeah, and to practice other words like that they know. Yes. All right. Guess where? So, guess where would be one student says, there's an armchair. Student A, is it on the porch? No. Is it in the living room? Yes. Okay. May I have your attention for just a minute? The reason I'm showing you these activities is to show you how you can modify, how you can adapt things, how you can make use of your resources. Posters are useful. They're part of your resources. And these activities, these examples show you what you can ask students to do to interact with each other and practice language that you have presented. Yes. Okay, you can talk about the activity. Yeah, what people are doing. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people. All right. Yes, you can obviously talk about. You can obviously describe things, but again, the reason I'm suggesting this is to optimize practice, to optimize speaking. Yes, you can ask them what they can see in the bedroom, but that's again description. When does this session end? Uh, well, not for a while, I'm afraid. Are you bored? Okay. No, all right, thanks. Okay, so another idea. Ask them to look at the picture and think about 1 or 2 statements to make that could be right or wrong, and then they have to tell each other. Student A says, the car is in the yard. Okay. Student B says, no, it's in the garage. Okay. So or just say right, wrong. Okay. Actually, no, time is not up. We've got more to go. Okay. Um, Here you go. I see something beginning with C. Closet. No, wrong. Chimney. Yes, right. Okay. That's another possibility. So what you do is you set up the example, then you go teacher, student. You do it with a couple of students for everybody to hear, and then you have students play in pairs. Yes, you can remove the names of the rooms and ask them to name them or match them, match words, okay? This is a very busy, very useful poster as well. There are activities, there are things you can do here. It's like, I see something blue. Where is it? On the table. Which table? The table with the two children, for example. You can get them to use whatever they can to communicate. Okay. From 6, again, my school. Yeah. You can develop activities here. All right. This is similar. You can also get them to listen and shout the number, okay? Identify the object. So if you say, for example, puppet, they say 10. Puzzle, 11. Okay. Um, Football, 6. Okay. Book. These pictures, thank you. These wonderful pictures, these posters are available, I believe, online for you to download. So you talk about sort of material online. There's plenty of material that you can use online, but you need to plan and you need to organize your activities in such a way so that you can make best use of the time you have. And I know you feel quite pressured regarding time. Okay. All right. Now this is a lesson, a unit, and a lesson from we can 4, yeah? So let's see, it's this one. All right. One of the things you can do when you begin is begin with the picture instead of going straight into the audio, into the recording, okay? So, okay, look at the picture. How many children can you see? 3. Okay, what else can you see? The door. They know front door now. Okay. What are they doing? What is she doing? She's speaking, greeting, yes. And what about them? Okay, yes, absolutely. Introduce the context. Set the scene before you do anything else. All right, if you want to also let them talk about colors and so on, yes, they're visiting, okay? But you don't have to exhaust this. You only do what is relevant, carry on. Let them say what they want, but don't ask them questions that are not relevant to the lesson if you want to save time. Um, okay, yes, that was a good one. Are they coming or leaving? Okay, is it bye-bye? Is it hello or bye-bye? Um, Describe the girls only if it's relevant for your lesson, I would say. You can't do everything through one picture. What do you expect they're talking about? Yes. Although if they don't understand that question, you probably have to ask them in their L1. Okay, what can they say when they answer? But what do you think she's saying? And so on. Very good. Yes, great. Okay. So use the images to set the scene. Okay. Um, so isolate the image, remove the text, activate imagination, engage learners. Okay. Um, hello, welcoming friends, and so on. Yeah, you, one of you did mention before, uh, it's important not to tell them everything, not to give them everything, okay, all the time. Let them think, okay? Let them think and say things because they know things, because they know each other. Yes, that's a good question. All right, so it is a lot more engaging. So this would be a modification because you might not get this as an instruction in your teacher's guide, but you get the rest of the stages set very clearly. Okay, and now what I want to ask you to do is look at your handouts. Okay, you have copies from the teacher's guide for Unit 3, My House, and in 4, yeah, in weekend 4, and Unit 3 in weekend 6. Can you please look at Unit 3 from weekend 4? Yes, agreed, Mohammed. Yes, absolutely. They're smart, but it's important to know how to let them think and work. Absolutely. Ask them to do what they see in the picture. Yes, I think, that at the end to act out the exchange would be great. But not to begin with, because they won't have had the language yet. Okay? So can you please look at the teacher's guide pages for Unit 3? Hello? Has everybody got that?
Hi, people. The teacher's guide is on the link for the handouts. So there are two, the ones that Dana is referring to. It's on the same handout that's for elementary teachers. The link. Yes, yes. Okay. They're saying they opened it. Sorry,
Great.
Dana.
Okay. Great. Super. Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Okay. Great. All right. So you've got that. Can you also look at the, no, sorry. Can you also make sure you have handout 1, lesson outline, weekend 4, unit 3. Okay. Okay. So let's work through this together. All right. So we're not looking at the, we're not looking, sorry, we're not looking at the student's book now. We're looking at the teacher's book. Can you see the teacher's book on the screen? Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's take it one step at a time, please. All right. This all is also, I want us to do this just to make sure, just to show you that actually it's not complicated. The guide, the teacher's guide is not complicated. It doesn't have very long texts. It's not confusing. Um, okay, so talk time gives you materials. My house poster. So for those of you who saw the poster for the first time before, use the teacher's guide. It's clear, it's my house poster. My room flashcards. Paper, a timer. You can change the materials if, like, you might not include paper, you might not include a timer. You might want to include some other things here. That's up to you. So that has to do with adaptation. But before you do anything else, you have to plan. You have to think of the stages. Okay, the first stage is getting started. Okay, so um, whiteboard. Yeah. Okay. Um, what I'd like you to look at is your handout now. Okay. Can everybody see the handout with the outline? Please confirm. Yes. Okay. So if you want to plan and you don't want to use the format of the teacher's guide, all right, this is the format that a lot of people use, and this is the format, quite honestly, that I suggest to my teachers and teacher trainees, maybe with some modification here, depending on the material and the age group and so on. But basically, it's very simple, and what you get is stage, activity, the aim, the goal of the activity, uh, procedure and/or materials, interaction, so you can think about it, your timing, how long you think you might spend on that activity. Um, and here we've got online, which is what you were interested in. Okay, so go back, go back to your teacher's guide. Okay, so it says the student should say hello, how are you to the teacher when they enter the classroom. Okay, they're not entering the classroom, all right? Uh, they're online. So when they get online, basically you train them to greet. Um, chant. It's suggested that you use a chant which they like, a chant of your choice, or not. If you think you won't have the time to do that, here you might want to omit, leave out this. Okay. Um, Now, in other cases, you might want a game, one of the fun time games, for example, modified again to be used online. But you don't have to use all three possibilities or more possibilities. So It's important to go through greetings and do one activity that is going to be a lead-in activity. Yes, a chant that relates to the lesson, or a chant actually from previous lessons, something familiar. You start greeting, not your students. Okay. Yes, exactly. Virtual room. Yes, absolutely. Uh, get them to greet as well. Now, you can also, I'm sorry, you have to be patient with this. Um, you can also get them to greet each other, yeah, as they, or greet everyone else that is already in the room. Okay, so online, the greeting, teacher students, you greet your students. Students teacher, or one student to the teacher. Okay, so this would be then, oops, this would be students to the teacher. Okay, um, student to student. Okay. Um, Now, the teacher or a student, if you like, could nominate. Okay. So call out the name of somebody and start a chain, a relay. So, hello, how are you? Fine, thanks. How are you? Hello, how are you? Fine, thanks. How are you? Or good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Very quickly. Okay, that's not going to take very long, regardless of the how large your class is. Okay. Ask numbers of them and greet them. Yes. Okay. So basically, what I'm trying to show you here is how you can think of changing the way you manage the activity so you can do it online. All right. Now, in class, teacher to students, student to student, or student to student, or student to teacher. It doesn't really change much online, does it? One thing to remember, however, is again, if you're addressing your whole class, if they're not in breakout rooms, or if you're not still using breakout rooms, which are a great idea, but if if you feel that you can't expect your students to collaborate smoothly, um, remember to nominate, to call out names, at least to begin with. And then if it's a chain thing, if it's a relay, they can take on from there. All right. If there is a chant, you can use interactive whiteboard. Students listen and chant. Or interactive whiteboard, students chant in breakout rooms and teacher monitors. Online, actually, yeah, you can have the students chanting in the breakout rooms if you want, instead of doing it all together, or not, as you wish. Um, okay, now, fun time. Sorry, this will have to change. Excuse me. Okay. Um, Again, if there's chanting to be done, you chant. If there is, listen and speak. Okay. Or they speak in breakout rooms, groups. Please tell me if what I'm saying to you makes sense. What do you do if they don't talk in the breakout room? You push them. It's, come on, or you encourage them rather. Okay. Yes, you do monitor. You can join in, yeah, to listen in. Um, okay. Um, Again, if your students are used to working in pairs and in groups, they will be able to do that more easily in the breakout rooms. If they're not used to doing it, you will have to be very patient and you will have to encourage them. And basically, this is what is more demanding for you. You have to move in, listen in to the different groups. If you have a large class, obviously it's not a very good idea to, to create pairs because you won't be able to get to all the pairs to monitor. One of the things that makes teachers very reluctant to use the breakout room is because they want to be able to control things. Well, we're talking about collaborative learning. If you set up your activities clearly and very carefully, and your instructions are clear, you have demonstrated exactly what you want them to do. You have asked some people to repeat whatever you want them to do, again, to make it absolutely clear that everybody understands what the task involves, then it's going to be easier for you to trust them to do it. It's important to make all these stages in each lesson, yes? You mean it is not important? I mean, um, the staging is very important, but what I would say is you don't have to do all of these, both of these to begin with. You can do the greetings and just do one other activity, a game or a chant or some other activity from the previous lesson, right? Um, or if you think your lesson is going to be very demanding, you might want to go deal with the greeting and then go straight into the lesson. Okay. But supposing, yes, you have done that. So you are at the presentation stage. Okay. So your presentation stage is here. Do you remember what we did before? Uh, we started with the picture. Yes? Bear with me, please. Yeah. So it would be a good idea to begin with this to set the scene, to introduce the context, as you said. All right, and that would be a modification because it's not given in the teacher's guide. But obviously, I mean, a lot of you feel that it's an important stage. I agree with you; it is important. Um, okay, so this is where you're at. Listen and point. Let's go back to the teacher's guide. Oops, I am sorry. Okay, so listen and point. Okay. It says, have the children open their books to page 18, play the CD and let them listen to the talk. Play the CD again and point to the characters. Okay? Very simple, very straightforward. You haven't got CD. You can use the interactive whiteboard. We're going to open it in a minute. Okay? Practice the talks in pairs. Have the students stand up and find a partner. They can't do that, yeah? Online. So have them practice the talks once with the CD and then ask them to do it again without the CD. Circulate around the room to make sure all the students are speaking English. Okay, this is now in pairs. All right, if you're using breakout rooms online, split them into groups and ask them to work in pairs within the groups and then swap roles and repeat again. You can have the interactive whiteboard and the exchange going so they can have a bit of help. But we'll do that when we get to the interactive whiteboard. Now, when you're presenting things, do get the students to repeat what they hear. Don't expect them to produce immediately, to produce freely, without sort of some more support. So if you look at your notes, we don't need the numbers here. So if you want to make the changes that I am making, okay, you see there were things there that were not relevant to this particular lesson. So I'm modifying, I'm deleting things. Okay, show visual. We saw the visual. So teacher to students, students to teacher, student to teacher, individual student, student to student, okay? About the visual, what we did before to set the scene. Where are they? Who are they? What do you think they're saying? And so on. So teacher shows poster or other image, okay? Picture with familiar objects, people, places, and elicits from students. Have more students repeat. Yeah. You show the poster or the picture online and you get the students to say, yeah, you elicit, you try to get things from them. You don't tell them everything, you don't give them everything. Silent period before they produce. You're talking about recognition. Yeah, what I'm talking about here is setting the scene and eliciting as much as possible from the students, whatever they can say based on what they have already learned in previous lessons. And this is the beginning of the presentation, if you like. All right, and then we go to listen and point. Use the interactive whiteboard. Students listen. Students listen again and point, or students book and audio. Students listen. We said, you said there is no CD, so we do away with this. Okay, so you're using the interactive whiteboard audio. All right. So students listen and point to characters. I remind you to make the changes in your copies, please. Okay, online for listen and point. Students open books and listen, or just the best thing to do is to get them to focus on the interactive whiteboard. Then open books, listen and point, because you want them to also make the connection with their books. At least that's what I think might be useful. Okay, so let's have a look at the interactive whiteboard then. So please bear with me. All right. In the meantime, can you please have a look at the rest of the instructions in the teacher's guide for practice the talks in pairs, act out the talks, and so on, while I'm changing the, what we're sharing on the screen. Okay. Can you see the interactive whiteboard on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go then. This is the lesson we were looking at. Okay. So if you look at your handout, listen and point. All right. So we're here. Sorry.
Yes, there is no sound because Zanai is not talking right now.
Sorry.
This is the living room. One. Hello. Welcome to our house. Would you like to come in? Yes. I'll show you around. Thanks. This is the living room. Two. Hello. Welcome to our house. Would you like to come in? Yes. I'll show you around. Thanks. This is the living room. Three. Hello. Welcome to our house. Would you like to come in? Yes, please. I'll show you around. Thanks. The living room.
Oops. Nope. Okay. You can pause here. Let's do this again. All right. So they listen and point. Okay.
One. Hello. Welcome to our house. Would you like to come in? Yes.
Okay. Let's do it from the beginning.
One. Hello.
Repeat. Get the students to repeat. Hello.
Welcome to our house.
Get them to repeat. Okay? Welcome to our house. Help them if they need help.
Like to come in?
Give them time to repeat. Would you like to come in? Would you like to come in? Now, we are at a time when we're being eclectic. We want students to think, we want them to be creative, we want them to be collaborative. But because there have been many different approaches, what we also do is we choose things from different approaches that are helpful. So it's not a time when we want to be dogmatic. One of the things that is very, very helpful when you have longer sentences, longer utterances for your students to produce, back chain. So in other words, go from, when you have, well, would you like to come in? That's a much longer utterance, yeah? Go for from the end, okay? Come in, get them to repeat. Come in, like to come in, get them to repeat, like to come in. Would you like to come in? The whole thing. Would you like to come in? Again, would you like to come in? Have I lost you? I can't see the chat. Okay,
Yes, please.
repeat.
I'll show you around.
I'll show you around. Okay, if you have to help, I'll show you around. Okay, back chain if there's a problem.
Thanks. This is the living room.
Okay, um,
Hello. Welcome to our house.
this is after
Would
you.
you like to come in?
This is after you have let them listen and point the 3 times. Okay. Um, Listen and find one thing in each room.
Let's practice first. 1. Front door. Front door.
Get them to repeat.
Dining room. Dining.
Pause to give them more time. Ask more than one student to repeat. You can go back if you want and go 1, 2 to redo that.
Kitchen.
Kitchen.
4. Bathroom. Bath.
Sorry. Okay, get them to repeat.
5. Bedroom. Bedroom.
Denai,
Yeah,
how many times should you ask the audio for these students to, like, how many times should you repeat the audio for the student?
it depends on how easy or difficult things are. If there are longer utterances, sentences, longer things for them to say, you might have to repeat them to let them listen to it or listen and repeat 2 or 3 times, yeah?
Okay,
But
thank you.
the thing is that um, if you have planned your lesson and you're really keeping a certain pace and using the interactive whiteboard, here you are about online resources. You do have online resources to use. They're ready for you. Um, then you do save time.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Living room. Welcome to our house. Would you like to come in? Yes, please. I'll show you around. Thanks. Can you round front door? Here it is. I found it. This is the dining room. Can you find the yellow chairs? Here they are. This is the kitchen. Can you find the gray table? Here it is. This is the bathroom. Can you find the white tub? Here it is. I found it. This is the bedroom. Can you find the bed? Here it is. This is the living room. Can you find the orange armchair? I found it. Well done.
Uh,
Now let's play it for real.
Okay, you get them to point, yeah, listen and point, and that's the example of the activity that they're going to be doing. Okay.
Let's practice first. 1.
Sorry,
Front
no,
door.
we don't need that. Okay, so you might want to play it again, get them to repeat a few things so they know exactly what to do. Then breakout rooms, get them to do it in pairs or in groups if you have a large class, or not, nominate, call out names and do it across class online. Okay. So,
Nice. We have
yep,
like 15 minutes to wrap up, perhaps.
I know. Okay.
Just click on the link, Mohammed, then you'll get the handout. Just reading off the chat.
Yeah.
So I'm dropping the link again. Just click on the link. You should be able to download these as well, by the way. So it's not just view only. If you click them and you can hit download, you can save them. So on the left side, just click them and download them. They're not view only. Oh, yes, good question. There, you don't need to mark your attendance anywhere. You will be automatically marked present if you have logged into this webinar. So there is no need to link record of your attendance or mark yourself present. Thank you.
Okay, so back we are here. All right. What I'd like you to do for tomorrow, please, just as an exercise, is try and make notes and make changes in handout 1 on and try to complete the notes for this lesson, for unit 1, unit 3, my house, this lesson, talk time and fun time. Just for yourselves, I'm not going to be seeing your notes. We're going to very quickly discuss them tomorrow, but just so you can see how far you can get and whether you can transfer the idea of activities from class online. Okay, do take into consideration the interactive whiteboard. So assume that you're going to be using that. Okay, you can always copy the image without text if you want, so that it's not all there. If you want to elicit, yeah? Okay, so point to rooms or objects and elicit words from students. So you point, okay? Tell me, what can you see? Chairs, okay? So there are chairs, yeah? In the room, all right. What else is there in the room? There's a carpet in the room or a rug in the room. There's a picture on the wall and so on. This, you can go back to this after you've done this words in action with different positions and so on. Go back to this. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, don't look at the resources in a linear way. It's like, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I can forget about it. Make connections between pages, within pages. There's a connection here, isn't there? Where's the boy? He's in the bathroom. Where's the boy? Okay, he's in the dining room. He's eating. Okay. Um, but you can see that there's overlap with a lot of things. So do try and make connections. Okay. Um, here you go. All right. This is this, the two hands game. Yeah. You might say, well, we can't do this online. All right, fair enough. You can't do it online. Although you can, because you can make those moves with your hands if you want to show them on video, and they can tell you what they stand for. Or you can copy and elicit what each stands for. So this goes for on, next to, behind, in, under. Okay. So elicit from the students. Don't tell them everything. We also have, okay, this is you. Can you please try and do the lesson plan for tomorrow? We're going to be looking at My School is Cool from 6 tomorrow. So if you want to have a look at your notes from the teacher's guide, that would be great. Okay, so use your copy of the teacher's guide page for weekend 4, house, lesson 1, talk time and fun time. Remember to use images from your course book or other images that are relevant. Decide on what you're going to do and why, okay? Have a look through the rest of the lessons in the unit and just think about possibilities, different ideas. But mainly what I'd like you to do, even if you have the time to only do one part, one stage of the lesson, please try and think of how you can transfer online so we can discuss it. Okay. Learner profiles. I don't know if you use these things, but you can change it. You can design your own as much as whatever you want. But what I tend to do is give this to students. They fill in their personal information. Okay. We stop there. If it's electronic, we stop there. I have the completed copies. So you remember that you can use Google Docs, or you can use email, whatever you want, so you can get the completed copies. And then you do these in stages whenever it's appropriate within the lesson, as you do different vocabulary, as you do different language. So they write in information about themselves. Why? Because it's very important for you to know exactly what they're interested in, different people are interested in, so you can adapt the lesson according to their interests instead of assuming. You might be wrong about some assumptions that you make. So adapt the lesson to their interests, include things that are important for them, so that you can keep them engaged and interested. It's an important thing to bear in mind. Okay, and what I'd like you to have a look at, and before we stop for today, is again catering for diversity in the classroom. Okay, we're not going to have the time to discuss the questions today. We might discuss some of the issues tomorrow. But if you remember, I had mentioned multiple intelligences, and you had, I think, queried the difference between learning styles and multiple intelligences. Here there is some information about multiple intelligences for you to look at, think about, okay? And these are very, very short descriptions. Just this is for your information. Why? Because it has a lot to do with individual students, with people that you think can or cannot do certain things. But if we insist on assessing this logical, mathematical, and verbal linguistic only to decide if a child has the abilities, can do things, then we're leaving out all of these things. And why are those important? Because you have musicians, yes. You have artists for whom visual spatial is important. You have architects, yeah. In AI, actually, this is quite important, yeah. In artificial intelligence, bodily kinesthetic, yeah. You have athletes. Interpersonal, you have good communicators. Intrapersonal, you have people who can work on their own and work independently. You have naturalists, who are people who are very good with animals, with plants, anything that has to do with nature. Okay, so some very quick descriptions here, and we can discuss some of these issues a little more, hopefully, tomorrow when we meet again. Um, sorry. Okay. Just checking your the chat box. Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. Okay, I hope this is clear. Just to remind you, please have a look at just that lesson and think about possibilities, and then we can discuss it tomorrow. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attention. Okay, I can try and give you a link or something for the multiple intelligence theory. Okay, some information tomorrow. Thank you so much. I don't know if there are any questions, Harish.
Thank you. We'll cover Q&A in the on Thursday. We haven't had any as such, but we'll cover the Q&A that we have, because there'll be a lot of things that they have questions about. How do we cover the grammar sessions? Can you teach us how to teach grammar? But
Tomorrow.
yes, so that's why I feel like maybe in case after we complete all the 3 sessions and you still have questions, then we can cover them in the last session on Thursday. But thank you so much tonight. That was very insightful. Thank you so much for your valuable session. It was, I mean, I read a really nice comment, and I just want to share that. It was, Danai must be thanked by all the children all over the world for her valuable information.
Oh God, thank you so much.
I just wanted to read out that to you because it
Oh,
was.
thank you. Thank you so much. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. But
All right.
couldn't expect any more. I mean, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'll see you all tomorrow. Please
Yes.
spend a little
We'll
bit of
see you
time
tomorrow.
thinking about things so we can discuss them tomorrow and I can help with any more queries or difficulties or confusion.
Yes, and as Danai has given you a little bit of homework for tomorrow, you can cover that off and we can discuss. You don't have to submit it back to us anywhere, but we will discuss this tomorrow. And the last thing is there is no afternoon session, so you're off now at 12. We have two sessions. Tomorrow is one session, and then on Wednesday, that's tomorrow, is one session, and Thursday we have one session. And you only have one session per day. So you have a 2 hour session tomorrow from 10 to 2, and then you have one on Thursday from 10 to 2. So we'll see you tomorrow then. And you don't have to register anywhere for these sessions. You should be receiving the link in your inbox. So just join up directly. Thank you, everyone. Unless you have any questions, then we'll see you tomorrow then.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comments.
The time is 10 to 12 KSA time. 2 hours, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Right, so we'll have 2 more hours tomorrow. So
Yes.
we'll discuss whatever you have thought of and carry on from there.